Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TBT channel. Welcome to today's video. Now you will have noticed, I expect, that this isn't a rifle, an air rifle in front of me. It's a quad bike. Today's video is about my new quad bike. Kind of shooting related because it can be used to get you across your permissions, two permissions, things like that. So it's kind of related, but I wanted to tell you about it anyway. This is a Segway AT5L, also known as a Snarler, which is quite nice. This is the standard version. They do it in two models, standard and deluxe. I went for the standard one, mainly because it was cheaper, but also the deluxe comes with alloy wheels, and I didn't want alloy wheels. I think they look a bit daft on a quad bike. Personally, it's my own opinion. So I saved 1,500 and got the standard version instead of the deluxe. There are things that I wish I had known before getting it while I was doing all this research, and that's my main reason for doing this video today. It's to tell people things that I wanted to know about this quad, which other videos maybe didn't include. So first of all, why have I got a quad bike? The answer is because I can. That's kind of it. I've always had motorbikes. Last year I had an accident, hurt my shoulder. I'm not allowed motorbikes anymore. So I've got to stay on four wheels. That was the deal. I've got to have four wheels. So I've got this. I had been looking, prior to this, I had been looking at the side-by-side quads, specifically the Polaris Razor 570. Now I was looking at a 2013 one of those with 10,000 kilometers on the clock, and that was €6,000. This was 5,995 euros, brand new. The thing's going against the side-by-side. Side-by-side's awesome. It's just like a little car. You've got a steering wheel, you've got pedals. It's wonderful. Even Karen would have got in it. But they tend to get abused. If you can get a new one, I'm sure it'll be fine. But the kind of use they're put to, 10,000 kilometers, that wasn't 10,000 gentle kilometers popping down the shop. That was 10,000 kilometers across rocks and across rough stuff. Usually, you know, because it's off-road, maybe even kids driving it, stuff like that. So it was deemed better in the long run to find something new. And surprisingly, at around this price, there is quite a choice of quads to go for. The main one, I suppose, if you're looking at ones of this kind of caliber, the main ones in this price bracket, not the cheaper ones, you've got these, the Segways, and then you have the CF Motos, the C-Force quads. Both made in China, but then just about all the quad manufacturers, regardless of where they are now, they're using parts made in China anyway. So that's kind of, made in China doesn't have the same feeling inside of your head as it used to. Things have moved on, and Segway itself is an American company based in Seattle, I believe. First heard of Segway way back. Do you remember those two-wheeled things that you stood on and they moved around, and it was supposed to be absolutely idiot-proof? Only, well, even an idiot wouldn't fall off it. Well, I wanted one of them, obviously, but you weren't allowed them in the UK. Or you were allowed them, but you weren't allowed to use them on the road. So that was by the by. But that was the first time I'd heard of Segway. And then in 2018, Karen and I were at the Le Mans 24 Hour, and all the drivers were whooshing around on these little electric scooters. That's fantastic. So getting home from there, I got two, and we got Segway ones. We got, because I'd heard of the name Segway, it was a brand that was known to me. So you've got a wealth of different ones available on Tinterwebs, and I went for Segway because I knew about this previous thing. And we got these little electric scooters. We've still got them now, done hundreds of kilometers on them. Absolutely fantastic. Obviously, you're not allowed those in the UK. Well, at least you're allowed to have them. You're just not allowed to use them on the roads where we are here. So that was that. So I'm looking at quad bikes, and I'm looking around this price, and we've got CF Moto, and then we've got Segway, and I'm thinking, Segway, they make electrical things. But anyway, lots and lots and lots of research followed that, and then trying out both versions, both vehicles. And The reasons I went for this, I'm going to go through. First of all, the suspension on this is very soft. It's very comfortable. It's very nice. I want this for comfort. You know, I'm not going to be looning around on rocks or doing jumps and stuff like that. I just want it really to be comfortable. And when you stand on the CF Moto, it barely moves at all. The suspension is very, very stiff, and I'm sure that's great for some things, but not for what I wanted. My main use for this is going to be going down the shops on the road. So I wanted it to be on the road, and green laning. And green laning here in France, there's this thing in France, if it isn't specifically prohibited, then you're allowed to do it. Okay, it's basically, that's part of the culture of France. And you'll be driving along little country lanes, and there's just little tracks off to the left and the right heading off into the woods. If there isn't a sign saying private property, no entry, then it's fair game. You are allowed to go along it. You're not allowed to cause damage, nuisance, things like that. You can't go across farmers' crops. You've got to use common sense. But if there's a track heading through a forest, you can use it. There are some caveats. There are some things specifically for fire, but they're marked out if it's for a fire access and things like that. But on the whole, when you're going around, you'll see tracks and you can just see where they go. Half the time they'll end in a dead end. We'll go and have a look in a bit. I'm going to strap a camera onto this and we're going to go and have a look. So on road and off road, and that kind of brings me to why it's this one. Quad bikes are dangerous, we know this, right? They fall over. Rick Mail fell off a quad bike. Do you know that was 27 years ago, 1998? Whenever you mention quad bikes, Ray and my wife, oh, Rick Mail fell off one. My wife was convinced he died falling off his quad bike. If not falling off his quad bike, it was as a result of falling off his quad bike. That's why I know it was 1998, because I checked it. He fell off a quad bike in 1998, died of a heart attack in 2014. Not related. So the problem with quad bikes on the road, they have a fixed rear axle, a locked rear axle. So when you go into a corner, usually junctions or roundabouts, you know, you don't have to be going very fast, but if it's a tight corner, he'll cock his little wheel in the air. And that's okay, except if it's a locked axle, that means you're still putting power through this one. You've got half the contact patch or less because it's on a camber, and it can spin around, and that is what happens. So this one has a rear diff that you can lock or unlock on the handlebars here, which is, you know, it's available on some of the more expensive models, but on something this price, it's none of the others that I found had that, and that was the main thing for me. I wanted to be able to unlock the rear diffs, use it in two-wheel drive on the road, and it be safe. So now, when I go round the junction or a roundabout, at 1 or 2 kilometres more than it really wants to, I suppose, he does a jaunty little cock of his wheel there, cocks it in the air, but then that wheel spins until it touches down again. So it's safe. That was kind of my reasoning for this particular make. They all have, as far as I could tell, the Snarlers, the AT5s and 6s have that feature. The next thing, this is the L. This is available in 2 different wheelbases, a short one and then the L, which is the long one. This one is massive. I mean, it's huge. You can get 2 grown-ups, even with me, on here comfortably, and that's a very good thing. It's going to affect stability as well, in a good way. On the road, a longer wheelbase is better. It's less darty, less manoeuvrable in the rough stuff, but I'm not really going to be doing that much, so that wasn't so important. So the L was great. This one was on promotion. This particular one came up on Le Bon Coin, and it was reduced by €1,000 and came with this free of charge. This boot on the back, which is massive, and I'll show you it in a moment. So that's why I got this one, and it has an unlockable rear diff. I'm going to grab my camera and show you a couple of other bits. First of all, I'm going to show you my boot. These are lockable. I've got the keys for them. I'm not bothered locking them. But this thing is big. You can get all your shopping in there, but the problem I found initially was that stuff just rolled around. Unless you filled it up, it rolled around. So I've got this basket. I'll put that in the centre there so you can put your shopping into this bit here, or on either side, and it just stops it rolling backwards and forwards. But the problem I then found yesterday was what that meant was I couldn't put my baguettes across the top because they got crushed. I had to fold my baguettes in half and put them in there. So I've got an answer. You may remember my Reximex Meta Plus rifle, and it came in this rather groovy hard case. But the problem with this hard case is the gun doesn't fit in it once you've got a scope on it, and it's so short you can't really fit many other rifles in there. Only my 44 Magnum lever action fits in there, and that's, you know, a push. So what I'm going to do in a short while is I'm going to drill a couple of holes in the base of this, fix it onto the rack there, and then I'm going to have my very own baguette holder on the front of the quad, and that's going to be really useful. Now, coming around here, oh, there's the fuel tank. It takes, I believe it's 19 litres, and this is a 500cc quad, by the way, 39 brake horsepower, 500cc, and I've read all kinds of different things about what MPG to expect from it, but I've done exactly 100 miles in this. Just switch the ignition on. Or I had done exactly 100 miles yesterday. You'll see there it's got 162 kilometres on the clock. 160 is 100 miles, give or take. So I filled it up, and I'm getting 40 to the gallon, and I'm actually impressed with that. What we have on the dash here, we've got a little icon there showing whether it's in 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, which diffs are locked. It's showing H at the moment because I've actually got it in gear. Oh, that's reverse. Pop it into neutral there. EPS, it's got power steering, variable power steering. 15 different settings which you set through the app. This is connected to my mobile phone. I can't show you the app because I'm using the phone to record this. But I can change all kinds of stuff on there, and it shows me when I get home, it shows me on a little map the journey I've did, and I can watch it again, the little dot moving across the map, and it shows what speed I was doing at certain points, how high up I was, stuff like that. Great. I've got a voltage meter there and a temperature one there. What else we got? The trip meter and stuff like that, and the time. So that is all good. I can also use my phone to start the bike. I don't need to have the key. It Bluetooths to it, and I can start it using my phone. Not sure why I'd want to do that, because if my battery went flat on my phone, that means I'm stuck somewhere. So it's nice to have, but I don't really see the point of it. It comes with a tow ball, and unlike most of the others, it also comes with the electrics to fix your trailer electrics too. So I can use this for taking rubbish down the déchetterie, things like that, or even taking my boat. I don't know. It's supposed to be able to tow my boat, because my boat's not that heavy. The boat and trailer together are within the tow limits. But I've not tried that as yet, because I'm still running it in. Here's a handy little cubby hole down here, which I have been using to keep my mobile phone in, but I've actually got a holder on the bars now. I've also got a USB charging socket and a 12 volt socket there. They are very, very useful things to have. The running in period, I got this on Friday afternoon. It is currently quite early on Sunday morning. I've done just over 100 miles so far. The first 30 kilometres had to be done extremely gently, extremely slowly. Don't accelerate. Basically just let the engine pick itself up and get going, which I did. And now for the next, well, from 50 kilometres up to 300 kilometres, I'm not allowed to go over 70 kilometres an hour, which is 40 miles an hour. But once I've passed that, then I can use all the power, all the four-wheel drive stuff, and all the speed. And regarding speed, this does give or take 60 miles an hour flat out, apparently. I'm not sure I could be going that fast on it, because I've just got it for bimbling. Let me show you these parts here. Now, this is what I was saying about the two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive system. If I just turn that on, you'll hear it all working. So that's currently two-wheel drive with the diff unlocked. If I press that, no, that was a church bell, that wasn't a dong. when I do that, that's locked the rear diff. And in my console there, at the bottom, you can see I've got an X there now to show that's locked. So that's locked rear diff, that's unlocked. Then we can flick it across to 4-wheel drive. You'll hear that. 4-wheel drive. And then here, I've got my front diff lock. So that's locked, that's unlocked. So that's 2-wheel drive unlocked, 2-wheel drive locked, 4-wheel drive with the rears locked, 4-wheel drive with everything locked. Now, in my tiny little brain, that means if I unlock the front and the back diffs like that, I've effectively got a Subaru, haven't I? I don't know, maybe I have, maybe I haven't. So that's that. I think what we need to do now is take it out for a ride. Go and see if we can find a little green lane. Just do a little bit of bimbling. Fair warning, the next part of the video is probably going to be, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes once edited, just of me green laning around here. If you don't want to watch that, absolutely fine. I did it because I wanted to do it. But if you do want to watch it, do want to come along with me, enjoy yourselves. There's a couple of dodgy moments and we end up here. So it's not all bad. We're going to take it out on the road and I'm going to have a mooch about, see if I can find a little lane to go down. My controls, let me tell you, power steering, look at that, power steering, so simple. I've got lights on this side, indicators, horn, hazard lights, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, lockable diffs, all that kind of stuff there. This brake here is front brake and that brake down there is the rear brake. But when you activate this one, it's 75% front, 25% back. When you do the back brake, it's 75% back, 25% front. The brake lever on this side is purely the handbrake. So you pull it on, lock it, the handbrake is on. And if you get off the bike without activating the handbrake, it beeps at you, which is good. The gear stick is down here. I'm in high at the moment. Got high ratio, low ratio, reverse, park and neutral. So I'm in high ratio, 2-wheel drive, unlocked diffs, lights are on, and that's it. Let's just open the gates. They're opening. Let's go. Close the gates. Marvellous. Let's go ride. I'm 2 minutes from my house and I've just seen this. I don't know if it goes anywhere or not. This might not make it to the actual video. But let's find out if this is actually a track. It looked from the road as if it goes into those trees there, but let's see. I'm recording this today on an Insta 360 Ace Pro 2 camera that I got this week. Bought, I'll hasten to add, because I was going to video this section on my phone, but it came out all wibbly wobbly. And yesterday I did go out, not to here, but somewhere else to do a video part. But the microphone, you couldn't hear me, you could only hear the engine and muffled talking in the background. So I've now clipped up my Land Lark M2 microphone that I normally use for my videos. It fitted into the action camera and I've got the microphone inside the helmet with me, so I don't know what it's going to sound like. Annoying, certainly, because I'm on it, but it seems to be a track, not a well used one, because we have brambles growing everywhere. And I've got my protective shorts on, obviously, to protect me from any scratches. I'm over at a cant. If I go this side, it will level out, but then I'm more in the brambles. One thing I do want to get for this is an inclinometer. The little doodad that sits on the dashboard there tells you what angle you're at, going across a slope or up a slope, just for in case you're getting close to being a tipping point. So we've got a little footpath down there. Don't fancy that. Goes that way as well, but this is quite obviously a track, isn't it? Yes it is, yes it is. The French laws regarding trespass, there is no trespass. So basically, as long as I'm not doing any harm and I haven't passed something blocking my way or a sign saying keep out or private, then I'm allowed here. If it's not expressly forbidden, then it is assumed to be allowed. And this path is here. I mean, the crops have been brought in already anyway, but this path is here obviously for a reason, I would say, and that reason is for me. Now I'm going, I don't know if you can read that, 15 kilometres an hour. It's about 10 miles an hour. It's plenty. I know people say, oh, quite dangerous, you're going to fall off it. I expect you would if you were silly, but I don't intend to be silly on it. I'm just adventure quadding. And this is so comfortable. There's lots of bumps and ruts and things like that, but I mentioned in the previous part, the suspension on this is really soft compared to the CF Moto, which was very stiff. And I'm sure stiff is good in a lot of situations, but for me and for comfort going over rough ground, this is nice. I like this a lot. Okay, there's a road up ahead. Well, there you go. That is an example of a shortcut in a green lane. I'm going to stop recording until I find the next one, because I might be on the road for another mile yet. Okay, this looks to be that one there, access private. This one here doesn't have that sign, so I'm thinking this one isn't access private. The observant among you will have noticed I have actually got around to bolting the Rexim X rifle case on the front, my baguette holder, and that is a very useful feature, and one I'm glad I've added. What I do want to add is petrol cans. I've seen some very small, like litre-and-a-half petrol cans that can actually strap onto the things here. I'm thinking of getting a couple of those, just because, I mean, this is quite good on fuel. I'm getting up to 40 to the gallon from it, which I'm impressed by. But just in case you don't want to run out in the middle of nowhere, a couple of miles from the road, I can ring Karen and say help, but you know, she wouldn't really be able to get to me. So yeah, a couple of those would be useful things to have. But other than that, I'm chuffed with everything that's on it. I've bought my winch. Since speaking to you last, I've actually bought the winch, but I haven't fitted it yet. But I'll probably do a video on fitting it, just because I think it might be interesting. So, oh yeah, an inclinometer, that's the other thing. I do want an inclinometer, because it always worries me when it leans over to the side like that. I know it can lean to 38 degrees or something, which is quite a lot, but I'd like some kind of confirmation on the dashboard showing me that, no, it's okay. It might feel scary, but you're okay. The only downside that I've found about this so far, if downside it is, well, first of all, the upside, the quad comes with a 5-year warranty, which is pretty good. But usually with warranties, that does require you to keep to the service schedule at the proper service centres. And this needs servicing every 600 miles. Now, I've read the service requirements, it's in the user manual what needs doing, and it's basically an oil and filter change, and check and retension the drive belts and the CVT gearbox as required, and then a visual check of the brake linings, you know, various, all the standard service stuff, which is all pretty easy to do at home. So I need to find out whether I can just get an annual service done at the main dealer and do the oil changes myself, because 600 miles I'm going to be doing that regularly because I absolutely love this vehicle, and this is my preferred way of getting anywhere that's less than 20 miles away now. I've done my 300 kilometres that I needed to do for the running in period. I did that in the first 6 days. So I can now go as fast as I like. Oh, speaking of which, I've had it up to 90 kilometres an hour, which is 56 miles an hour. And the speedo on this is GPS, so it's very accurate speedo. So 56 miles an hour, it was still pulling. It would have gone, I think, probably 95, 100 quite easily, but didn't really want to. You know, it wasn't in a place where it was appropriate to do that. I do find pootling around at 70 to be better. Right, oh, there's another track in those woods up there. Let's get a bit of speed on along here. Simply because that was a bit of tarmac and that's quite dull. And we're back onto a track, a continuation. This is a continuation of the track that I was just on, and I recognise where I am now. There was a bit that I came along a couple of days ago when I tried to do this without the microphone. Oh, it was an epic piece. You'd have loved it. It's just you couldn't hear a word I was saying. And I came across here and I went down this track here, and there's a good bit down here, so we'll go down and I'll do it again. This time it'll be the second time I've done it, so it's not quite as original as the first, but there is a nice hill and it's a good place to show you the four-wheel drive system. So we'll just come down here and find it. It wasn't too far down, I don't think. Slow down a little bit. It's strange having a thumb throttle rather than a twist grip. This is more like a jet ski than a motorbike. Right, here we go. Now it's that hill there. I don't know if it looks it on the video, but that's quite steep. And I took a look at that and thought, because it's also quite uneven, which I don't know if you can see here. Oh, that's it beeping. See, hear that? That's it beeping because I stood up without putting the handbrake on. So I thought, oh, I'll go this way to the right because I didn't like the look of that, and all it does is bring you round in a loop to the bottom of this bit, and I thought, sod it, I'll try going up it. Rather go up it than down it. So we'll do that. This is just the long way round, presumably for vehicles, because that slope itself, it flattens it out somewhat, I think, on the on screen. Well, certainly when I watched it back I thought, well, it looked more terrifying than that when I was actually doing it. So just over these bumps here, try and keep it all square. There we go. You can hear the CVT gearbox whining there. It's giving me engine braking because, again, this is quite a steep hill just coming round this way. So this is some kind of bridle path then, because that was a pile of horse doings. And this brings us to the bottom of that hill that goes up through there. Now, I could go down here and just turn left onto there. And that's what I was doing when I did this before, but it felt somewhat trepidatious. But if I take a wider angle, we should be. Now I'm going to go and turn around down here. Until I've got my inclinometer for reference, I'm only guessing. And I don't just want to put it on its side. We're only going to be going slow, but I don't want to put it on its side. So there is our hill. I'm going to keep it in high range, and I've got it now in 2-wheel drive unlock diff. If I press that, that's a locked rear diff. If I turn that, I've got 4-wheel drive. If I unlock that one, unlock that one, I've got 4-wheel drive, everything locked together. But I don't want to do that. I'm going to start off in 2-wheel drive, unlocked rear diff, and then we'll change things as we go, as required. Yeah, this is quite steep. I mean, nowhere near too steep, obviously. It's just with it all being new to me. A little bit of wheel spin there. Just feathering the throttle, giving it power when it needs it. Okay, now I think I want to get that one round to the left there and straight up that wall, because that's a very steep wall. Right, and now I'll try it in 4-wheel drive, because the rear's just slipping. Okay, rear wheels locked, front wheels locked. Climb, you bugger. Whoa. Oh, that was that's got my heart rate up a bit. It's going to look crap on the, I know it's going to look crap on the thing, on the video, but that was fun. That's properly good. So I'm just back in 2-wheel drive, rear diff locked, just to get it up those final bumpy bits, and that's it. Back onto the level. Stop, disengage the rear diff lock, and away we go. Come to the end of that gravel track now that we were on before going down and playing around on that hill. Now, I have been up here before. That gate over there is usually locked and chained as it is now. It was open once, but I didn't go down there simply because if while I'm down there somebody comes along and locks it again, I'm stuck, aren't I? So yeah, I think that's something to do with the chassis down there. That way goes nowhere, so my only option was this way. So I have been along this one before. It's fine, just getting past the fallen branch. And if I remember rightly, when I came down this one last time, I thought next time I come along here, I'm going to bring some stout scissors or secateurs, because I think this was the one that had loads of brambles. And guess what I didn't bring? I didn't bring any scissors or secateurs. I wonder if the French got a word for secateurs. There we go, getting a little bit close. I have come across mountain bikers on this path last week. It happened on one of the times I came down here. It was okay though, I just pulled over and let them overtake me. Most things overtake me most of the time. I think my days of going fast are done now. Slow is the new fast. One of the things I have wanted all my life is a Defender, a Land Rover, for doing exactly this kind of thing. But now that I'm in a place where I can do it, a country that I can do it, so many of the tracks and trails are just too small for a car. But a quad is the perfect thing for doing it on. It's not really much wider than the quad itself, but enough. I mean, it's wide enough. And the other thing I'd been looking at was a Polaris Razor, which is the side-by-side type quad, similar size engine, similar size performance, but it's got a roll cage on the top of it. You sit side by side and it's got a roll cage, so things like this branch across here, I don't know, I think that would have been difficult to get under, whereas I can just duck. And there's been a few instances where low branches you have to duck underneath them. I think that would have been a big disadvantage for a side by side. The main advantage would have been it had a steering wheel and pedals, which meant, as far as my wife's concerned, it's a car, and she'd have been less furious about me getting it. She's furious. She refuses to even look at this. It's the work of the devil. But, you know, as Karen said, Rick Mail got killed on a quad bike. Well, no, he had a quad bike accident, didn't kill him. Well, he died from his injuries. And to be fair, a couple of people have said the same thing to me. If you mention quad bikes, it's kind of like, you know, the Reliant Scimitar. If at any time anybody mentions a Reliant Scimitar, it is standard practice, in fact accepted, required, that somebody in the room says Princess Anne had one of those. And get up there. And it's kind of the thing with quads as well. If you mention quads, somebody has to say, "Ooh, Ozzy Osbourne and or Rick Mail had an accident on one of those." Yeah, Rick Mail's one was in 1998, 27 years ago, but still, talk about quads, that's the only thing people know. 27 years ago, and he died in 2014, which was 16 years later, of a heart attack. So I did manage to convince Karen that it wasn't directly linked. Ozzy Osbourne's crash was 2003, and I fully expect his was just because he was dicking about. In fact, Rick Mail's probably was as well. There's ways of using machines that people think are dangerous safely. It's how you use it, I reckon. Yeah, here's the brambles, look. My shorts will defend me. I think I'm going to get the hand guards for this as well. Not necessarily because they'll do much to protect my hands. I wear my gloves anyway, my motorbike gloves, so they're armoured. It's more because I think they look good. To be honest, I think that's with the winch as well. It looks great. It's got a winch on it. Ooh, I might never use it. In fact, if I've got a winch, and I probably will use it, even if I don't really need to, just because I can. There, look. This branch here has been there for a while, or tree, I should say. Somebody's even taken the trouble of painting the base of it red so that mountain bikers can see it. I thought the easiest thing would be bring a saw and cut it out the way. And I will be doing that. I've done that when I lived in Cornwall. I've done it when I lived in Brittany, and it's just one of the things I do. I'll carry an Opinel, you know, the Opinel wood saw that folds out to about that long. I carry that in my pocket, and in the winter time when I'm doing my walks around and about, I tend to cut stuff back and, you know, keep the paths open. So here we are on the main road. Not the main road, a road. Main road is at the bottom here. And in preparation for this video, I know that down that way, in about a mile, is a track I've not been down before. I don't know if it goes anywhere, but we'll find out. And here it is. That's the road I was just turned onto, came from that direction. And we've got a track. This is visible on Google Earth, as most of them are. I do try and do a bit of research first, but it disappears somewhere in those trees, and I'm not sure if it just stops or continues on. The reason I'm kind of pushing in this direction most of the time is over there, the other side of that hill, is Monmouth, and there is a Subaru supermarket, a brand of supermarket over there, which is the same as the supermarket we use in our village. But obviously, if I can find an off-road route to get to that one, I'll go shopping an awful lot more. Yeah. Shopping can be fun. Now this is quite a wide track. This is obviously, ah, here we go, there's a sign. What's this saying? Platform of compost private. So this is a composting area, presumably belonging to the, oh no, there it is, Caliton, who are the big recycling people down this way. So leaving your stuff is forbidden, €3,000 fine. Right, so yeah, basically no tipping. That's an official composting area, not for plebs. The good news is there's nothing to say, you're not allowed here, just there. These will all be full of water and muddy in the winter. I don't think I'll come here in the winter, I don't like mud. I didn't move to the south of France to get cold, wet and muddy. I like it warm. In fact, yesterday Karen's talking again about moving to Spain. She likes it here, but it's too cold in the winter. She wants to move to the south of Spain, where it doesn't drop below 20 degrees. I think she's turning into a fucking lizard. Lizard girl. I'll probably edit that bit out. But this is the thing for me. This is how I would like to spend my leisure time. Just pootling along tracks in the middle of nowhere, because you never know what you're going to find, what you're going to see. Again, evidence of horses. It's poo. This is quite a pleasant lane. And one I could have done in a Defender. Dragonfly. Now I've got a temperature gauge down there. You see that on the left hand side. I've been pootling around things like this, up and down banks and stuff, pretty much most of the 319 kilometres I've done. The fan comes on occasionally, but there's no signs of actual overheating occur. There's the cooling system. Bearing in mind it's like 30 plus degrees centigrade. The cooling system seems more than adequate. Other things we've got on the display there, we've got on this side, bottom right hand corner, you'll see EPS. Now that isn't anything to do with Epstein, that is electronic powered steering. So that shows that that's working. It's down there, I've got a fork in the road, that one seems to be going back on itself though. Let's continue on the main one. I've got a funny noise in my helmet then. It was the camera switching off. So I switched it back on again. Look, this is bumpy. And that will just be mud in the winter. Oh, that's a deep rut. I don't want to go into that. I'll stay over this side. Well, I've fallen into it on this side. Grounding out is one of the issues, I suppose, and that's where the winch would come in handy. And that's just what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, I wish I had the winch. But we are still running purely on unlocked rear wheel drive. And I'm being very careful not to drop down that side there. And I'm hoping that this is part of a through route, because I don't fancy coming back this way. The ground clearance on this is bloody good though. will get you places 4x4s can't. The trick to off-roading, proper off-roading in the middle of nowhere, boggy, things like that, is being small and being light. I'm not light, but fortunately the quad is. Lean over that way. Well, the car tracks have stopped, so that must have been as far as they could get. Let's hope that the track itself continues, because I really don't fancy going back that way without a winch. With a winch, no problem. The winch I've got's what is it, £2,500 winch. So it will lift 1,300 kilos, which is like 4 times the weight of this. So it'd have no trouble winching itself out. What the heck is this? What manner of thing? Oh no, that's a road, I see. Well, this way. I'm going to have to map all these at some point. I've been pootling for a couple of hours now. I've got a pretty good idea of where I am, but I do have the GPS for backup, which is always nice. That's bumpy. Another path cut down through there. These chair things that you'll see, these are for the chasse in the shooting season, the hunting season. You don't want to come quadding down there when they're shooting, because there's boar running around and stuff like that. These woods are actually full of boar and deer, and the hunters will stand up on these platforms, and then the boar or the deer are driven through. Ah, there we go, look. This one is private because it's been barred off, and because it's barred off, that means I cannot go any further. It's a shame, so I was quite a way down this track. So they'll be driven towards them, and because they're elevated, first of all they're safe from the boar, because boar are quite angry most of the time, but then when they take a shot, they're shooting at a downward angle, which reduces the chance of ricochet, or reduces the chance of injuring people anyway, because they do use pretty big guns for boar. I've got a rifled 12 bore pump action, which I use for slugs. That's one that can be used for it, but 308s is the standard, but anything goes really. The express calibers are popular here. Overkill, some might say, but dead's dead, isn't it? I do want to go in that general direction, so we'll just carry on along here and look for the next available path on the left, I think. Quite a nice wide open track. It's bumpy, ruts in it, but nice and wide open, so you can pick a line to avoid the worst bits. This one, don't want to go too fast over. There's this one. Yeah, let's give this one a go. It's not as clear as that last one I went down. That's probably a good thing, because that last one had, I don't know, it wasn't a house, but it had some buildings down there, possibly allotments or something like that. And it doesn't look like this has been used in the last few months. Certainly not by a car. So I'm hoping we're not going to get to somebody's private property at the end of it. As to whose property I'm actually on at the moment, in the UK, anything that's not owned by anybody else is owned by the Crown. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's owned by the Crown, which means there's no actual land that doesn't belong to somebody, which is why there's huge great areas where you're just not allowed to go. But here, anything that's not owned by anybody is owned by everybody. So it's ever so slightly different. No, this definitely isn't a road, is it? A small amount of slippage, but we are still in unlocked rear wheel drive. We had a shower a little while ago, so the grass is wet. This is going to disappear up its own bottom, isn't it? Lean over to this side. The ground's fairly level to each side, so I can turn around easy enough. My main issue is I don't yet have the winch fitted. So if I was to get caught in a rut, that would be problematic. Right, get rid of these brambles. Interlocked across the path. So definitely nothing been down here recently. Get off my shirt. Well, yeah, this is good. Now it goes into the wood. Or was that just round a fallen tree in the past? It could be. You get these when you're out walking sometimes. The path seems to just stop and go into a wood, and it's because at some point a tree has fallen down and people have just walked around it. Oh lordy lordy. Right, that is just soft dirt, so I am going into four-wheel drive and locked rear diff because I don't want it to bog down. Keep moving. Nice. And is that a dead end? Shall we call that a dead end? No. Oh, I tell you what though. There's a lake just there. Let's back up. Back up, and what we're going to do is continue on foot because there's a lake. I don't know if you can see the water about 20 yards that way. This could be the fishing spot I'm looking for. And I was right, there's a lake here, as you can see. it was a little bit touch and go coming through that last maybe 20-30 yards. And I forgot to switch my camera on, but anyway, I'm not going back through it, but I will be doing more of that kind of stuff once I've fitted the winch onto the quad, because with a winch you can always pull it out of a situation. In the middle of nowhere on your own, less so. But the good news is this is a nice big wide track now I've got down to the water's edge, so getting out of here should be pretty easy. Summing up about the quad, it's absolutely fantastic. I love it. I know there's more expensive ones, there's probably better ones, but for the money this does everything. I can unlock my rear differ on the road, I can lock everything up solid for off-road. It's comfortable, it's got a 5-year warranty, and I absolutely love it. There will be more videos of this, just of riding it. If you don't want to watch them, that's absolutely fine, but if you do, thank you very much, and thank you for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, notifications, all that jazz, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, goodbye.